Hello everybody, it's Non-Scene News here, and today we've got a lot of broken updates today. So the first news is coming from Moscow, where we're just gonna continue the Chinese-Russian meetings. So a military delegation from the People's Liberation Army Ground Forces of China has arrived in Moscow to discuss issues of military cooperation. This was stated by the Russian Ministry of Defense. So if you can see here in your bottom left corner, we can see the two commanders meet with each other. They had multiple meetings. They also paid tribute to the unknown soldier and many other Soviet soldiers that fell in the Second World War. Now let's go into the Russian airfield. So there's been an airfield that was struck last night. So if you can see here in bottom left corner, we can see the result of this attack. So Ukraine is saying that they hit this exact airfield in Russia. It's close to, I believe this is Volgograd. I think that's how you pronounce it. Just from a bird's eye view, we can just see how many jets and just aircraft are just left in the open. But Ukraine is stating that they hit these exact hangars here that are protected. So you can see here in your bottom left corner, we can just see the strikes of here, so we can clearly see the structures that have completely been destroyed. So at this time of recording, I don't know the damages of this strike. It could be nothing, it could be something, I don't know. But very interesting developments. Now let's head to the nuclear power plant. So we've got some news coming from Vladimir Putin. So Vladimir Putin is stating that the Ukrainian militants attempted to strike the Kursk nuclear power plant. The IAEA has informed President Putin. So we've got some news. We've got no footage of this right now, but Putin is saying that Ukraine, during the previous 24 hours, tried to strike the nuclear power plant. So very interesting development, and I'll keep you updated on that. Now we're going to go into some Kursk updates. Zelensky stated that the attack on the Kursk region is it's a better way to end the war on Ukrainian terms. Russia has also published the losses of the Ukrainian armed forces in the Kursk region. So Ukraine is stating that Russia is stating that Ukraine has lost 4,700 troops in the Kursk border region, 68 tanks, and multiple artillery systems and more. So 68 tanks is it's pretty big number. That's actually probably more than some countries have in the world. That's just been lost in this direction. But I'll keep you updated on that. Ukraine has also prepared to provide education for children in the Kursk region if necessary. So Ukraine is ready to provide education for children in the Kursk region if this situation persists, according to the Deputy Minister of Education and Science. He stated that if the situation continues until the end of September, we will need to develop an education plan for minors in those territories. So if this lasts into September, apparently coming from Ukraine, they're going to teach Russian minors in these cities just education. I'm not sure if they're going to teach them Ukrainian or Russian. I'm not sure. But China has warned Kyiv during the previous 24 hours. So China has warned a retaliation strikes on Kyiv in the coming days. So China is warning Ukraine of a huge missile strike in Ukraine. So the Chinese embassy in Kyiv is urging its citizens to avoid traveling to Ukraine over fears of a massive Russian attacks on the Ukrainian Independence Day this Saturday. And this actually kind of goes in hand with what the Russian ambassador to Washington stated. So the Russian ambassador in Washington stated that Putin has made a decision on how to respond to the attack on the Kursk region. Those who are responsible will be severely punished. So this is probably going in hand. So the Washington ambassador is saying that Putin has made a decision how to respond to the Kursk situation and all the strikes that have been happening. And now China is saying that something's big is going to happen tomorrow, I believe, on Ukrainian Independence Day. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And probably one of the biggest news today is that the PM Modi, so the Prime Minister of India, has officially reached Kyiv, the Ukrainian capital. He's the first ever Indian Prime Minister to visit Ukraine. The Indian Prime Minister Modi arrived in Kyiv on an official visit, so we can see here in your bottom left corner. We've only got a couple of videos right now at the time of this recording. So he's here to obviously discuss some ways how to end this war. And right now, meetings haven't been published yet. So on tomorrow's video, we'll get the full results of this meeting. We've also got news that the US has officially allowed Ukrainians to use US weapons in Russia. So the Pentagon stated that strikes with American weapons on the Kursk region do not contradict US policy, stated the Pentagon. So very interesting developments. And the US has announced a new military aid package. It's worth about 125 million US dollars. So it will include air defense systems, HIMARS, Javelin, anti-tank systems, electronic warfare systems, as well as 105 and 155 millimeter shells and other equipment. So very interesting news. We've also got stuff coming from Sumy, which I forgot to mention in the Kursk frontline talks, that Zelensky also went to the border regions in Sumy, where he met with the Commander-in-Chief Suski of the Ukrainian army. So they're talking about how the Kursk region is going well for Ukraine, and how an additional Russian villages and settlements have fallen to Ukrainian control. That's all the news I've gotten from Ukraine. So now let's head to Belarus. So the premier of the State Council of China, Li Guang, flew to Minsk from Moscow, where he had a meeting with Lukashenko, if you can clearly see in your bottom left corner. During the meeting, the Belarusian president empathized the Minsk and Beijing share the same views on the current situation and the future world order. Belarus has also identified 6 cases of reconnaissance of its territory by Ukrainian armed forces UAVs in August. So Alexander, the Belarusian Security Council leader, stated this. So apparently 6 cases of Ukrainian UAVs close to the Belarusian border. Now let's head to NATO/Finland. So a NATO armoured brigade numbering 4,000 to 5,000 soldiers will be established near the Russian borders in the Finnish city here, and I believe I'm going to butcher this name, but Mikkeli, I think that's how you pronounce it. But according to the newspaper and news agencies and sources in Finland, this is apparently the case. So in the coming weeks, plans for a NATO armoured brigade that will be consisted of about 5,000 servicemen will be deployed in Finland near the Russian border. So let's stay tuned for what Russia is going to respond with, which will be very interesting. We've also got news coming from Hungary, from the head of Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary's cabinet. So Hungary has condemned the Ukrainian armed forces invasion of the Kursk region. So the head of the Prime Minister's Viktor Orban's office said that Budapest is against expanding the combat zone. We want a ceasefire and peace. He also stated that everything that contradicts the settlement of the conflict as wrong, including the spread of hostilities to the territory of Russia. So this is a NATO country, may I add. So Hungary is officially condemning the operation into Russia. We've also got news coming from Croatia that Croatia is announcing the reintroduction of compulsory military conscription for all men starting next year. So Croatia suspended conscription back and shifted to a volunteer-based system in 2008. So it seems that they're going back. So conscription in Croatia will be starting next year. We've also got news coming from Switzerland that the threat of terrorism is growing in Switzerland, the spy chief stated. So the Swiss Federal Intelligence Service stated that the level of the threat of Islamist terrorism in Switzerland is on the rise, and minors are increasingly joining the ranks of Islamists, the head of the Swiss Federal Intelligence Service stated and as warned. and a warning. Now the next news is coming from the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and more specifically Scotland. So Glasgow in Scotland is to open the UK's first official drug consumption room. So Scotland has one of the highest rates of drug deaths in Europe, according to recent studies. So Glasgow is now apparently going to open the first drug consumption room. So you can search it up, it's completely true. Now let's head to Africa, where we've got news coming from Somalia. So Somalia has threatened to suspend Ethiopian airline flights. So Somalia has issued a warning to suspend all Ethiopian Airlines flights. So Somalia has issued a warning to suspend all Ethiopian airline flights to its territory due to ongoing territory disputes. So the Ethiopian Airlines have given a deadline of August the 23rd to address these issues, or all flights to Somalia will be suspended. So today, we'll get the official response, or Ethiopia won't reply. Who knows? And I just wanted to add this in because I thought this was very interesting. But the biggest diamond in over a century is found in Botswana. So if you can see here in bottom left corner, this is the biggest apparently diamond that's ever been seen or mined since the last century, last 100 years. So this is 2,492 carats. So a huge amount, and officials said it is way too early to actually value the stone, but Botswana has sold a smaller stone, a smaller diamond than this, for 63 million in 2016. So this is probably going to crush that number. So we'll see what happens. We've also got news coming from Thailand that Thailand confirms its Mpox, so another word would be monkeypox, case is Clade 1b strain for the first time in the country. So monkeypox has been confirmed to be in Thailand. So I'll keep you interested in this monkeypox or Mpox thing. We've been talking about it this past couple of days. So I'm committed now, and I'll keep you updated on that. Now I want to go to North Korea. So North Korea has condemned the US decision to approve sale of 36 Apache helicopters to South Korea. So the North Korean ministry condemned the US State Department decision to approve the sale of 36 AH-64E Apache helicopters to South Korea. The North Korean state-run news agency KCNA reported. So there you go. We've got some North Korea condemns America. We've also got news coming from the huge railway strike in Canada. So there's been a huge Canadian railway work stoppage in Canada. So the Washington Post is stating that this is actually threatening the US economy. So Canada's two largest railroads shut down on Thursday morning in response to a labour dispute that could quickly have dire consequences for the US economy, stated the Washington Post. There's been a big strike, a big labour movement that's been happening in Canada in the railways. So Canada moves to actually end the railway shutdown as quickly as possible. So the Canadian authorities are working to solve this problem before it gets too bad. We've also got news coming from Kamala Harris. So Kamala Harris has officially accepted her nomination as the potential president of the United States of America. We've also got news that Kamala Harris has officially joined Twitch, where she's expected to stream her speech tonight. We've also got a pretty big news coming from Donald Trump. So Donald Trump has announced a special guest will be attending his rally tomorrow in Arizona. So I've got a little theory on this. So this might be completely wrong, but so I've got a little theory. So I think, because we've gotten a lot of news this week stating that Kennedy, so RFK Jr., might be dropping out this week. So I think Donald Trump and the RFK Jr. is going to link up, and I think it might be RFK Jr. that might be the special guest in the Arizona rally. That's just my that's just my opinion. I think he's going to drop out probably pretty soon and join Donald Trump. I don't know. That could be completely wrong. We've also got news coming from the US Supreme Court. So the US Supreme Court has voted to allow Arizona's law of requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote to go into effect. The last news is coming from the Supreme Court of Venezuela. So the Supreme Court of Venezuela has officially recognized Maduro as the elected president of Venezuela for the 2025 to 2031 term, according to media reports. So there you go. Despite everything what's going around the world, a lot of countries actually don't recognize this election to be actually legitimate, but the Venezuelan court has officially recognized that he will be serving to 2025 to 2031. So there you go. And that's all the news I actually have for you today. I am Non-Scene News. I'll try and provide you news that medias around the world do not show you. I do these videos hopefully daily, so consider subscribing and liking. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.